Um, okay, this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I've sort of been procrastinating it because I didn't know how I wanted to do it. But you know, I'm finally here. Basically, I just wanted to kind of start a series of, I guess, sort of like a video diary, or maybe sort of like just like a conversational thing I have, where I come out and have chats about my life and maybe some insights and what's going on and how I'm feeling and thinking, and publish that so I have a record of stuff going on in my life, because I find that I have all these thoughts and feelings, and I'm not so good at, you know, making diaries or writing journals or doing that sort of stuff, but I think I can. I'm good at sitting down and talking and just sort of yapping on for way too long, and so I thought I'd kind of come up with a series. I think I'm going to be calling Backyard Chats, just where I sort of go different backyards or outdoors or anywhere really. I don't know. Shouldn't really worry about naming conventions early on and just do the thing, you know. But sometimes when you're you have these aspirations in your head, you kind of build up what you'll do. You do this and that and that and that and that, and then most of that normally doesn't even end up happening. I think planning stuff's half the fun of it sometimes. But anyway, I wanted to just do this sort of thing because I find it interesting, and you know, obviously I've since I've been young, you know, video content creation has been a big part of my life. I think for a lot of the new generation, I think a lot of people want to do it, but you don't take that step to doing it. And definitely in times in the past I've tried, I've always thought that I needed the biggest production and the most expensive equipment, and I said, fuck it, you know, I'm just gonna record it on my shitty phone and buy, you know, a wireless lapel mic and a tripod for a camera off Amazon, and who cares about lighting when you can just sit outside? Even though today is kind of a bit of a shit day for that, and massive clouds just over Octop. It was sunny earlier when I should have done it, but I procrastinated until later, and you know, you just get to a point where you're like, you know, fuck it, why stop making excuses and just do it. It's not like dropping a bunch of money on something's going to make it popular, and it's probably not even going to be popular. I doubt people will see this, but it's not about that. You know, I think the process is what's fun. You know, would you do something if you didn't have any money or fame or any audience for it? Would you still do it? The answer is yes. I think that's true passion. That's something that I hope I have. So, a little bit about me, I guess. My name's Leandro. People call me Lenny. I'm 21 years old, and I started university this year. I took some time off in between because I was, I don't know, I finished high school in 2020, kind of at the peak of COVID-19, and then that sort of threw a wrench in my plans of what I thought I was going to do after school. I ended up getting a trade and doing that for a year, but it didn't really work out. Sort of just drained me of my energy and my time, and I think ultimately it was a contributing factor to the end of my previous relationship. And in a way it was, you know, not a good time, but I think it was important that all that happened because I obviously needed to go through some change after a year of high school and needed to move out of the town that I was living in and kind of pick up my life. And my friends either all started to leave or were leaving, and I don't want to be the last one left behind, so I decided to go spend half a year in Germany with my father, who lives over there, who I don't really see much because he left when I was younger. And then spent some time over there sort of just thinking what I wanted to do and what I wanted to be, and hanging out with family. It's good. Really liked it over there. And then I guess I came back to here in Australia, in Brisbane, and I decided to start university and moved in with my grandparents because Lord knows I couldn't afford to try and find a place to rent or live by myself, so thank God for them. helping me find a place to live. And I think I decided I wanted to do university at the end of the 2023 to start a business degree, and with the intent of maybe doing some study abroad again, maybe go back to to Germany to study business over there after I completed the first 2 years of my degree. So I started that in the summer period and did the first semester over the college summer period, and finishing my second semester now, looking into moving to the second year of my bachelor's after I finish this diploma and get a year off. So I guess that's just a kind of quick overview of my life's been up to, but I think I've wanted to start this because moving away to new places and being by myself, it gets lonely, I think. And I thought maybe if I can make some sort of videos where I can talk regularly, and even if I reach out to one person every once in a while who sees this, even if it's just for a few seconds in the beginning, I think I don't know, maybe it might be something to sort of feel like a bit of a connection between people. Not to say I don't socialise. I do have friends I speak on Xbox sometime too, but they all moved to the other side of the country, which is 5 hours by plane flight. So I don't really get to see them much. And I have one other friend who I here in the city who knew before I moved to a town for 6 years during high school, and once I graduated, at the year after, I've come back now, so I've kind of reconnected with him a bit, which is very good. We still get along, but he lives on the other side of town and doesn't have a car, and he's got his own life. I've got my own life going on, and he's got his own other group of friends as well. I don't really have that many other people that I socialise with, so when I go to university, I'm quite happy to talk to people, even if it's just for a little bit. It just keeps you feeling better. But I think that's what I wanted to talk about, is that I think a lot of people talk about loneliness these days amongst youth, and I think I wanted to maybe share my experience in that. Maybe if someone can relate for a minute, and maybe if it makes them feel like they've been seen or something a little bit, that would be good. But yeah, I think if there's one thing I've realized with me is coming to here, that it is it's hard to try and find connection with people when it's what you're desperately always looking for. It sort of feels like in the way that you want to sometimes accidentally fall into it, whether that just be romantic connection or platonic, like friendship connection, or spiritual. It feels like if you I personally think when I'm looking for it and I'm trying to create it all the time, that I'm sort of jinxing it in a way, and I'm doing myself out of it, and I should be just letting it naturally happen and not trying to force it. Or that if it does happen, that I'm being manipulative about it for some reason. I don't know why, but you think that, sometimes I think, I'll give an example, because the point of this is to be vulnerably open, and I'm not just trying to say nothing. But I guess as a person, it's been 2 years, more than 2 years now, since I last had a girlfriend, and since then I haven't really had any success trying to find anyone. I've tried dating apps before, but I don't do well on them. I don't really get any matches. I had one close call where I matched with someone and we talked for a bit, and we were making plans to maybe go on a date, and I wasn't even really that interested in it, but I thought, give it a try. But in the end, she just, we were this close to making plans, and she just didn't get back to me, and I just left it. And I don't really want to go back to the apps, because it's just, I don't know, it feels like you just keep going back and forth between deleting them and using them. And people say they're using it just for hookups, but I can't even get matches on those things. And I think that's normal for a lot of guys. and it can be quite crushing to your self-confidence. So I've sort of just left that, and I'm trying to be one of those people, like, if you live life, it'll just happen when you're least expecting it. But any situation I go into, I feel like I'm expecting it, or I'm trying to make it happen, and I'm trying to force this narrative because I kind of trying to view my life as it's some sort of rom-com or sitcom or something like that, where you go to a cafe and you talk to someone and you're talking to a girl and you don't even realise that she's going to be the future person that you fall in love with or start dating or whatever. But for me, it feels like every time I do something, that's what I'm thinking of, and I hate that. I just want to be able to have a normal interaction sometimes, but it feels like, I feel like anytime I go out, I'm like, oh, what if this is the time I finally meet somebody? And I don't know, it doesn't happen, but maybe it's good for that, because even when I do meet people, I feel like I'm so desperate for it that I start lying to myself about whether I like this person or not, or this girl, and I can barely know her, and you think, oh, yep, she's perfect, and you don't even know her, and you just start telling yourself these stories in your head about what you think is perfect about you and her, and you build up this idea of her in your head, and that's what you end up falling in love with. And it can be bad because this person doesn't even know you, and they might not even have really any interest in you, but you feel like you have some sort of connection, and then all of a sudden you start seeing their behavior and their actions through this character and this fake connection that you've built up in your head. And even though it's not real, it feels real to you, and it can be painful at times. I can say that right now. There's a person that I like, but I know that I don't know them, and I know that then either that they've kind of, I think I've already got people in their life, or they're got a boyfriend, or they're just already not interested, which is fine and very normal. But I'm doing the thing again where I'm like, telling myself I've spent more time talking to them in my head than I have in real life. And so I have this idea of them in my head, and I'm chasing that, but I can't let go of it. I'm trying to create these interactions and these moments, and it's like, I don't know why I'm doing that. I mean, I do know why I'm doing that, because sometimes it's funner to daydream and live in your head than it is to be present and maybe be devoid of something. It's better to have an imaginary connection than no connection at all. Or at least it feels like that to a person who is constantly on the lookout for finding that. And I know it's just hurting me because I'm projecting these thoughts and these feelings that they don't have, or like they might do something that hurts me, and I'll take it as if it was intentional, but it wasn't. It didn't even. I'm not even part of their thought process, and part of it's kind of scary, because it's like, man, you could see how people become obsessed with people, and go down to the roots of, if they don't lack that awareness or that self-control, something like that can really take over their life. And I'm afraid I don't want to be perceived as that, or even worse, I'm afraid, what if I am that kind of person, and it's just not gotten to that point yet. So I try to, figure it out. Part of me is like, it's not really a choice all the time. It's just your body, your heart and your mind does what it wants. And part of me is like, look, I should just let this play out, and eventually, I'll lose feelings or I'll lose interest, and then I'll move on. But part of me is like, you shouldn't feed in or give in to these unhealthy wants and desires. And it's not even like a sexual thing. Like, I'm not really a hugely sexual person. Like, I mean, I have it, I have sexual desires and needs, but they're all secondary to, I love emotional and intellectual connection above all. I'm definitely a big talk. Obviously, if I had issues with yapping, I wouldn't be doing this. Obviously, I can talk forever, and something I'm very self-conscious about. I feel like I talk too much, but I thought, oh well, if I'm gonna talk, and I have this need to talk, I might as well talk to a camera or record it, and not just, otherwise I'd maybe unload on people a bit too much. Use people as my therapist instead of going actual therapy or writing it into a diary. So I guess there's that. But yeah, I don't know what I want. Maybe I don't know. I'm a bit lost what to do in this situation. I keep going back and forth. Do I try and just be friends, or it's like, do I just leave it? I spoke to them and I asked them to lunch after we had texted a little bit. I mean, the texts were kind of dry and I could tell that, not really interested in texting too much. But I thought, fuck it, you got to build confidence by getting rejected, right? And I had been trying to ask girls out. I'd asked one out before then. I thought, I'll try and ask 3 girls out and get rejected 3 times. So I asked her out to coffee and we got coffee and I thought it went okay, but I knew that I was maybe being a bit intense and a bit much, and she's nice, she's a polite person. I find her interesting, but we got coffee and I think maybe she thought I did say I want to make more friends. And I feel like that's bad when you're trying to, date people and you always start off like minimizing, like it's just coffee, it's just lunch, or, I just want to make friends, but you always have in the back of your head, there's an ulterior motive, and I wish I could be more forthcoming about that first, but I think that can be a bit much for people, but then it also feels like I'm lying to them at the same time, so I don't know what's the right thing to do, is to be honest or to make them feel comfortable. But, we got coffee and then we were chatting a bit and I could tell that she wasn't really interested, but I'm like, I'll just ask her to get it out because I don't want to get caught up. This wasn't the point of the exercise, wasn't to like, get a crush. And I asked her out and then she just didn't say anything back via text. And I was like, oh, that sucked. I would have preferred just like a no, Just crush me. It sucks, but in a way, saying nothing, it leaves room for the imagination to... A blank space is much harder to interpret sometimes than a clear no. So that's kind of what happened, and I think it just sent me for a bit of a spiral. And all my friends hear me talk about it, but yeah, I think trying to navigate love and emotions as a young guy, essentially not that much different than like a teenager. Especially for me, my first girlfriend and only girlfriend I started dating when I was 15 and then dated all the way up until I was like 19 even. Basically my last 3 years of high school, at least the last 2. And before then I hadn't really had any experience with it. I think I'm not really good at this casual dating stuff, or I don't do hookups. Even if I had the option to, it's not like I have much success with meeting women casually for sex. But I don't do well with it either. I think I would become attached too quickly, or it'd be too nervous or too much pressure for me. And so I try to talk to people and get to know them, but the problem is doing that casually doesn't stay casual as long as you become invested in them, or invested again with the idea of them. And then it's much harder to break out of that in a way. And the thing is, my brain blocks me off from trying to meet other people because I'm like, oh, you don't want to be talking to other girls or trying to meet anyone else who might be interested because, what if an opportunity comes up to try and get, close with this person that you already know and you like, and that's so stupid. But your brain does that, and you just don't become attracted to other people physically, even though, like I said, it's not so much of a physical thing, but when I have an emotional connection to a person, I really like their personality, it makes them physically more attractive to me too. I don't know how that works, it's probably a common thing, but it happens. And yeah, I think at this point I'm just tired of it. I want to go back to it before I was, even though I was lonelier before I started university, at least I wasn't having these like daydreams about being with a person. And I guess it just means sometimes I wonder if I don't know if it's just me who's like this, but I think there's definitely other guys who it sucks when you see other people who are better at it, are better at meeting people and better at getting chances with people, and don't know if it's something that I'm doing or just sometimes I feel like, you know, you're unlucky. You're not in the average person's type. You know, if you're a bit different in your looks, you know, you're kind of unluckier, and especially as a guy, I think. I'm not saying that girls don't have their own issues. I think girls definitely have a lot of issues. It's just different issues. They're not easier or worse. So that's one of the worst things that we can do is when we try to draw lines between challenges people face and say rank them in terms of difficulty. There's no easier or worse with anyone for anything. It's just different. And yeah, I don't know. It's weird. So that's what I'm just trying to figure out. And but you know, generally it's good though. I have a good, you know, couple of people I talk to, and I get along with them well, and you know, I guess another thing is I try to know when to be myself, and then when to try and, you know, I feel like, you know, it's important to be yourself and be open and honest, but it's a bit bad if you do it too much too quickly. You kind of want to slowly release it on them over time instead of just dropping them honesty bombs. But that's one thing I'm very big fan of, is honesty and openness. I love being honest. It feels weird in the moment, but I feel better afterwards if I can be honest with somebody. But I know when I'm talking to someone and I'm just being my true, talkative, overactive self, you can see in their eyes sometimes, you're just talking to them, and they just switch off a little bit. You know, they do a bit of a nod, oh yeah, and they make like a sort of inflection, and you can just see that they're no longer interested in you, what you're saying, or they're making a judgment about you based on what you're saying or how you're saying it. You know, it's a bit like, this guy, yeah, he's a bit much, you know, like, you know, when am I gonna get a word in? I try to do that. You know, I don't want to be just a person, you know, talking to them at the brick wall and just not letting them get a word in, because I love hearing other people talk too. It's one of my favorite things. I'm just so eager to, I think I spent a lot of time last year before I started university in isolation by myself, basically, not really hanging out with people that much. And especially, you know, even on weekends, I don't really do that much. I kind of just have to sit by myself, either work or spend time by myself. So when I get so, I'm so excited, you know, it's like when a dog comes home, or when you come home and you see your dog and it's so excited to see you because it's spent all day by itself and all it's doing is waiting just to hang out with you. And the people that I'm, you know, talk to, they've all got lives, most of them have got lives of their own, and they've got friends, and you know, they don't need me as much as I need them, I guess. So maybe I need to just find some people who are more like-minded. But it's harder to tell initially. Everyone's got their character and barriers up to, you know, travel through the day without, you know, being bothered or bother people too much. And you can't really pick the people who you would, you know, vibe with initially. You just have to kind of hope you come across one, and you lower your emotional and personality barriers and find out that you click even more. But yeah, I don't know, I just, I guess at the end of the day, I like this person a lot, and I look forward to seeing them. When I don't see them, I'm sad. And when I see them enjoying themselves or talking to other people, which is fine, it makes me sad because I wish I could be that person, but I'm not, and that's fine. I wish I didn't come across so awkward and weird about it, but I try, you know. I think it's okay to have thoughts, just as long as you can tell when thoughts and feelings are maybe irrational or not too given to them, or at least try. And if you do, it's okay. People make mistakes sometimes, but as long as you're trying, you know, that's what's important, is the trying and making progress. You don't want to always just be trying and not making it anywhere, but little steps at a time. Sometimes, you know, take a step backwards or two, but as long as overall you're making progress and trying, even if it's just a little bit, that's what's important. And one thing I always feel like that in these situations, I think, it sucks to see guys go through similar things, and the result is it turns into resentment or negative emotion. Especially a lot of stuff that I'm feeling right now is what a lot of other guys feeling. It turns them into misogynistic or hold resentment towards, you know, certain types of men or people who, you know, who do have relationships. and they want to blame the world for something, and at the end of the day, sometimes no one's, it's just unlucky, and that's just what happens. And it's not your fault, it's not her fault, it's not his fault, it's not whoever's fault you're feeling about it, but you want to blame something, you want to have, I think sometimes blaming something is, means that there's something that can be fixed. If you can point to something, that means there's a problem. And only if there's a problem, it can be fixed. Sometimes the problem is you, and people don't want to, you don't want to be honest and admit you're the problem, but you might be. But sometimes there just isn't a problem, and that means you can't fix anything because there's nothing to be fixed, and time or chance, and that's almost worse in a way. If I was the problem, at least maybe I can come to a realization one day and be like, this is what I need to do. I need to change my behavior. I need to work on myself at this or that, which I think I still do. I definitely want a relationship, but there's times I realize I know it wouldn't be forever. Like I have hang-ups on the idea of love and marriage, and I think of that, things are going to end. I think even if I dated this person, I don't think they're the one. Eventually it would sort of fall apart. Anyway, I think, yeah. Where was I? Sorry, the wind was going over. I just think I remember watching The Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind with Jim Carrey, and even though I know these things aren't going to last forever and they're not, I don't know if anyone will be the one or if I ever, be with someone forever, I would still want to do it. It's not about it being forever, it's about the time they spent together that was good and the memory you'll cherish along the way that are important, even if it means nothing lasts forever. I think that's why I still do it. Even though I know I have work on myself to do, and I do work on myself, I still, in the meantime, crave that, feel like I should be able to have these relationships. But I don't think any relationship will make better. And sometimes I think, I could totally see myself getting into a relationship at a good place and then going downhill a bit and it, ruining it again. But I hope at least every time if I get into a relationship, I learn about it. And even if I never, get to the place in the end, I can have one along that I still know. So, yeah. I think in the meantime, I'm just going to continue working on myself, going to the gym, eating healthy, staying away from drugs and alcohol, continuing with my studies, hanging out with my friends, playing music, which is something I'll be doing later. I think I'm going to be doing these chats, and I want to be doing music reviews. As I think you need the audio just cut out there, so I'm just gonna pin this onto the end of what I was just saying there. But yeah, so I'm going to be doing music reviews because I love collecting vinyl and listening to music, and I just want to talk about that with other people, and that's also fine. But if like I said, I don't think anyone's going to really make it to the end of this video because it's not really about anyone seeing this or really getting an audience. Of course I think about that, but it's just about getting good at it and having a hobby. And would I do this if no one saw it, no one made money? Fuck yeah, because at the end of the day, if anything, I have something that I can pass on to my family and my kids, that they have this record of me and I can look back on it as well if I ever want to. So yeah, that's it. Thanks. I'll catch you later.